Well, good morning and welcome back to this third session in a series of 10 discussions on what the original evangelists wanted us to hear in their incarnation stories. Now, it seems in my last one I misspoke in saying that today we would be talking about Mary's song. I think I want to hold that one off a little later in the series. And today I'd like to take some time to consider the character of Joseph in Matthew's gospel story. Matthew is the only gospel that makes any reference to Joseph or even to the father of Jesus. Joseph is entirely a character of Matthew's design. And there's a very important reason, I believe, for why Matthew introduces Joseph into his story. Mary, when God wants to communicate with her, receives a personal visit from an angel, from Gabriel, to deliver the message. With Joseph, it's entirely different. Joseph hears God's message in dreams. Remembering that Matthew is speaking to an entirely Jewish congregation in the diaspora, it seems logical that Matthew adds the character of Joseph in order to evoke thoughts of another great story that Jewish congregation would know well from their Hebrew scriptures. In Genesis, we come across a wonderful story of Joseph the dreamer. As well, in the Joseph narrative in Matthew, Joseph has to pick up and go to Egypt. And through that trip to Egypt, Joseph saves his entire family. Again, it really speaks of that Genesis Joseph story where Joseph is taken into Egypt. And through Joseph's work there, he manages to save all of his brothers and sisters and his father, to preserve all 12 tribes of Israel. I think there's a very important reason why Matthew wants his congregation to connect the Jesus narrative with the Joseph narrative from Genesis. You see, that Joseph narrative in Genesis is actually the prelude to the Exodus. And for the Jewish people, the Exodus has always been God's mightiest act in all of creation. God reaches in and sets the people free and brings them to the land of promise. I believe Matthew introduces that character of Joseph in order to draw the mind of his congregation, and hopefully our minds as well, back to that moment of Exodus. Matthew wants us to hear in this story that Jesus is going to be the Exodus and even more. That through this narrative, the narrative of Jesus Christ, we are going to experience an even greater freedom. That, I believe, is the Advent hope in Matthew for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. And on Monday, I guarantee you I will be dealing with Mary's song. Have a great Advent day and God bless.